From Squallywood, it's the Dan and Ron Show!
Hello, I am Dan.
And I'm Ron.
And we are the Dan and Ron Show. What are you doing?
Washing my hands.
Ah, good one, and well timed, Mr. Clean. But, where are you?
I'm in my kitchen, at the kitchen counter. This week's word is counter.
Ah, but not that counter. Counter like in counter rotation.
Oh.
Counter rotation like the upper body and lower body moving in opposite directions.
Oh yeah, opposite directions at the same time and with the same torque.
Yeah, the upper body rotating one way and the lower body rotating the other. Like this. I'm on a bar stool. So, the rotation of the upper body and lower body are in balanced opposition.
Oh, Sir Isaac Newton would approve of your segue to incorporate last week's word, balance.
And the rotational hinge is at the hip joint, an important component of angulation from the letter A.
I guess all these words are useful.
That separation we pointed out in angulation is needed for counter rotation.
Yeah, that magic hinge of the femur in the pelvis.
If the skis rotate left from the hip joint,
The upper body rotates right from the hip joint.
Newton's third law,
Yep, action, reaction.
or rotation counter rotation,
Nice one.
since the upper body does not appear to move, this can confuse the observer.
Yeah, it's all relative.
Relative?
Relative to each other.
Ah, yes. The upper and lower body are moving relative to each other.
If I hold the nut and turn the bolt is obviously rotating.
And the nut, not you, Ron, is turning on the bolt.
Since I'm at the counter, I have a wine bottle with a line on the screw top for reference. I also made a pair of skis that I fashioned with the skills I learned in my 3rd grade arts and craft class on the bottom of the bottle.
Screw top wine, Ron?
I'm an economizing coach.
So the screw top is the pelvis or the upper body, and the cheap wine is the femur or the lower body?
Yeah, counter rotation is typically described with a short radius turn. While this is accurate, it is limiting in that it only explains half of the physics.
Can you use that discount wine to show how the pelvis moves over the femur with a long radius turn, where the turn intensity and duration are lengthened, changing the turn dynamics?
Okay, for this long radius turn, counter rotation is slow, like you mentioned. The pelvis or screw top will rotate on top of the femur or the bottle of wine.
So for short radius turns, the femur turns in the pelvis, and for long radius turns, the pelvis turns over the femur. Only the dynamics have changed.
Like Newton told us, action, reaction, forces come in pairs, torques come in pairs. Counter rotation also needs a pair. If something rotates, it has to have a pair or a counter.
Upper lower body is the same as lower upper body. Yep, a pair. This separation is key, and this is the articulation of the femur and pelvis. The femur rotation in the pelvis is the same as the pelvis rotating on top of the femur. Only the dynamics have changed. Ron, put that down and wait until we are finished.
Sure, Dan. One last item. What about the difference between counter rotation and counter?
Counter is just the boring redhead stepchild of counter rotation.
That's right. It's just a position.
Like a snapshot.
That's it for C, or counter, or
Hey.
counter rotation.
Hey, I gotta call you out. How did you know to stand at the counter?
We gave a hint during the balance episode.
Yeah, and we gave away the balance choice during the anticipation episode.
Angulation.
Ah, angulation. Got me. Well, A, B, and C was easy. What about that X, Y, and Z? Could be more difficult.
I'm not worried. The only thing I'm worried about is that the toilet paper doesn't run out.
Well, we'll see you next time for the letter D.
On the Dan and Ron Show.